Air disc brake technology in North America has come a long way. Today's generation of air disc brakes have evolved far beyond their roots to provide significant benefits for commercial vehicle OEMs, fleets, drivers, and service operations. With Bendix ADB 22X air disc brakes from Bendix Spicer Foundation Brake, those advantages include enhanced driver feel, control, and overall vehicle safety. A vehicle that more easily comes to a straight, stable stop within a stopping distance that is significantly shorter than today's federal standards. Optimum performance throughout brake service life, and service simplicity and speed, especially when it's time to change out the air disc brake pads. This program is designed to give an overview of how Bendix air disc brakes work and demonstrate how to perform a Bendix ADB 22X brake pad replacement. The vehicle shown here is for demonstration purposes only. Although your vehicle may differ in appearance and/or component configuration, the process we show here is universal to all makes and models. We'll begin with a quick comparison of how typical air drum brakes and air disc brakes work. Both types of brakes are considered foundation brakes, in that the actual braking action occurs at the wheel end. This foundation is what the brake system is built on. In an air drum brake, the friction material on the brake shoes is forced against the internal braking surface of the brake drum. The friction generates a brake torque and slows the vehicle. The brake application and release is accomplished through a variety of exposed pins, rollers, bushings, and springs. To maintain the air drum brake's integrity, all of these components should be serviced at every brake reline. In an air disc brake, the friction material on the two brake pad assemblies makes contact with a rotor positioned between the two brake pad backplates. The braking action comes from the sealed tappets and sealed sliding action of the caliper, which clamps the rotor between the pad assemblies. As you can see, the air disc brake has fewer exposed wear components than the air drum brake. The fewer components there are, the less there is to service at each reline. And the less there is to service, the faster that service can be performed. In fact, compared with a typical S-cam drum brake lining change on one wheel, an air disc pad replacement takes about 1/5 the time. That's a lot of saved time to be put to more profitable use, both in the shop and on the road. Available for steer, drive, and trailer axle applications, the Bendix ADB 22X air disc brake offers optimized braking performance and durability. Friction pairing between the pad and rotor, a design that maximizes service life, is just one of its proven design features. The ADB 22X pad friction material has been developed to correspond with the rotor's specific metallurgy as a matched friction couple. It's important to use only OEM-approved replacement pads and rotors. Non-approved pads can cause excessive pad and rotor wear, even increase the risk of a cracked rotor. And vehicle safety is no place for cutting corners. It's also strongly recommended that brake pads always be replaced as an axle set to minimize uneven wear and maintain performance balance. Like any service procedure, brake pad replacement calls for following all recommended vehicle manufacturer and shop safety procedures. Because the wheels must be removed for access to the brake pads, the vehicle must first be positioned on a level surface, with the wheels properly chocked and any spring brakes that are present properly caged. As with any of a vehicle's wear components, the fleet manager, with knowledge of the vehicle's vocation, application, duty cycles, and their own fleet maintenance schedules, will develop a service schedule for air disc brake pad replacement. Bendix ADB 22X air disc brake pad replacement is required when the friction material reaches 79 thousandths of an inch, or approximately the thickness of a nickel, or when the total backing plate and friction material thickness is 433 thousandths of an inch. The technician can get an indication of pad and rotor condition by comparing the relative position of the notch cast into the caliper with its mating indicator at the carrier. When the notches align, it is time to schedule a full brake inspection. Another good indicator that the pads have worn significantly is when the tappet boots are clearly visible. Whether you are changing the brake pads on the steer, drive, or trailer axle, once the wheel is off, the pad replacement procedure is the same. So is the genuine Bendix parts kit, which includes one axle set of brake pads, 2 pad retainer bars, 2 pad retainer pins, 2 spring clips and washers, 2 adjuster caps, and 2 new shear adapters, in case the originals were over-torqued. This can happen particularly if the wrong size or type of wrench is used to make adjustments. The first step is to remove the old spring clip and the washer. Then press down on the pad retainer bar and remove the pad retainer pin. You can discard all of these parts since new ones are in the replacement kit. Next, de-adjust the brake. This means backing off or retracting the tappets by means of the adjuster mechanism. To do so, first remove the adjuster cap. This exposes the shear adapter. Using a box end or socket wrench, rotate the shear adapter counterclockwise to fully wind back the tappet and boot assemblies. The clicking or ratcheting sound indicates that you're going in the right direction. The amount of torque you'll apply here is similar to that used on an automatic slack adjuster in drum brakes, so it's important to use the right tool to avoid damaging or breaking the shear adapter. Never use an open-ended wrench. Use a 10mm box end wrench or a socket and ratchet to avoid shear adapter damage and over-torque. Continuing to torque after the tappets are fully retracted will cause the shear adapter to fail in order to prevent internal adjuster damage. If the shear adapter fails, remove the sheared parts and simply replace it with a new one from the kit, and normal brake function will be preserved. However, if the shear adapters continue to fail after the adjusting procedure is corrected, it indicates the internal adjuster is not functioning properly. In that case, the caliper must be replaced. Once the tappets are retracted, remove the old pads and dispose of them according to your shop's procedures. Be aware that the fit for the new brake pads is purposefully snug. However, they are designed to slide into place using only hand pressure. If a new pad doesn't slide in, it's because the tappet and boot assemblies need to be fully retracted. So continue to de-adjust the brake until the shear adapter no longer rotates. To insert the outer brake pad, first slide the floating caliper fully to the outboard position. Then, making sure that the friction material side is facing the rotor, hand work the new pad into place. To insert the inner pad, slide the caliper fully to the inboard position. And again, with the friction side facing the rotor, work the inner pad into place. The final installment procedure is to insert the pad retainer bar. Press down on the bar to insert the retainer pin. Install the new washer and then the new spring clip. Then it's time to set the initial clearance. Using the same tool you use to retract the tappets, rotate the shear adapter clockwise to extend the tappets until the new pads are snug against the rotor. Then check the tightness of the hub. At this point, it should not turn easily. Now back off the tappets by turning the shear adapter counterclockwise 2 audible clicks. Then check the hub again. Now it should turn easily. The final step, replace the adjuster cap with a new one from the kit. All it takes is about 15 minutes per wheel, and your air disc brakes are back in action, ready to do what they do best, providing service technicians with the assurance of genuine OEM-approved parts from an industry leader. and commercial drivers with the peace of mind that comes from knowing their vehicle brakes will operate as designed, with safety, performance, durability, and overall value in mind. Bendix Air Disc Brakes from Bendix Spicer Foundation Brake.